This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Zoe Lyons is with us this morning. If you want to text the show, you can do it on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Hello.
Morning.
All right, ladies.
All right, Frank. All right, mate. I don't know about that.
I had a lovely sort of post office picket line
Yeah,
feel to it. Kind of like
I
that.
enjoyed it.
So this morning's texting, cheese on its own, why is that wrong? That's 8, 12, 15. I am still reeling from this week's Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh, what happened?
Well, Richie went.
Oh.
Now, I don't know, you might not be watching Strictly, but...
Not Richie from Absolute Radio.
No, I wouldn't mind. Yes. No, but this guy is a West Bromwich Albion fan. I've met him several times. He used to be the announcer at the Albion at one time.
Is he the radio man?
He's Zoe Ball's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think they use the term sidekick on non-commercial radio. Not a term I've ever liked. But I always say my co-presenters.
Very inclusive. I say side
But he was really good, and I thought really looked like he could be brilliant. And then he went this week.
Oh, did he make a big boo-boo?
No,
Oh,
it's a mystery.
oh.
It's a mystery. It's like quasi-Kwarteng. No one can work out why he got... Oh, no, it doesn't work. That doesn't work as an analogy. But no, I was genuinely upset. It was awful.
Shame.
If you don't watch Strictly, but we're not going to talk about it all day. But can I just say one other thing about Strictly?
You can say plenty of things.
There's a thing they do at the beginning where they say, ladies and gentlemen, the judges. And the judges appear and they do a little dance.
Yes.
And one thing I can't any longer avoid is that Craig Revel-Horwood can't dance. He can't. He's like the most embarrassing unmarried uncle coming down. And just, he's awful. And I thought, hold on, this bloke's like a leading choreographer.
It's very difficult to nail a manoeuvre in 20 seconds.
Well, the others do it every week. That's all I'm saying. Every week.
Who's the... I mean, Shirley knows her. She knows her onions.
They do it. Just they don't try and do too much, but they have the
Just a
lovely
little
lines. And then he does. Oh man.
But you know he's constricted with the clothing.
Well, I don't think it's just the clothing. I think I suspect he drives a tuk-tuk, as it were.
Oh.
I love Craig for his horribleness and all that, but he can't dance. Craig can't dance, and that's just it.
Oh, this is going to be in
It's
the
a
Sun
very
tomorrow.
bold statement.
Yeah.
Would you
You'll
like
say.
to do Strictly, Frank?
I've been offered Strictly several times, but I think of myself as a confident man in any situation. Once I got a degree or two and had a bit of success, I felt you could put me in front of the Queen or a bloke digging a hole in the road, and I could converse and be happy to walk with kings and keep your etc.
Yeah.
But as soon as I start dancing, I become so self-conscious, I think I might faint on the floor.
I think you'd be good at it. 'cause
No.
You've got an athletic figure.
I know, but I move like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
But nobody'd notice that if you're in
No,
like
they
a
would.
skin-tight shirt slashed to the navel.
I don't like that.
I would
I
be.
don't like that, Zoe.
I'd be the comedy old guy.
Do you know what?
I used to talk about this on stage, that I'd be dressed as a giant pheasant dancing to George Ezra's Shotgun. And I can't live with that.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So the thing is with cheese is that when I'm preparing like a cheese sandwich or cheese on crackers, I often you cut the cheese and a bit falls off, and I just eat that on its own. That's better.
Oh, I love those
Better
remnants.
on its own.
The
Bit of
cast
solo
off.
cheese. Oh yeah.
Do you like a cathedral?
I do. It's not my favourite.
Okay.
I like
It's
a
Frank's favourite.
I like a very crumbly Wensleydale. A slight saltiness to it, a slight tanginess, and because it is crumbly, lots of corners do fall off. So before you know it, you've eaten an
Yeah,
entire
but what I'm
block.
saying is, why bother with the crackers and stuff? Why not just eat massive chunks of cheese on there? That's what I want to do from now on.
Are you?
I think it's because the cracker is like a fascinator. It's like the same way that women use fascinators at weddings. It sort of distracts. And I think the cracker distracts from the fact that you're eating what is essentially a large block of fat.
No, I'm all right with that. It was good enough for Robert Falcon Scott in his Arctic treks.
What, he had cheese?
They used to have big lumps of fat. I mean, they literally had properly big lumps of fat that they used. It's got a technical name.
Blubber.
It's something like Pantechnicon, but it won't be that. Anyone? What's the big lumps of fat that Captain Scott used to eat on his Arctic expeditions or Antarctic? I can't remember which is which. 8, 12, 15.
Can't you think of a more original text?
Yeah, you're probably right. It's somewhat like Pantechnicon. What is a Pantechnicon? Is that a lorry?
That sounds like a geometrical square. Sounds shape.
If
Don't
it's a Pokemon.
start.
Yeah.
Frank, Ruth Jordan has been in touch.
Who?
Ruth Jordan.
Of course, Ruth.
I like that you say that like some sort of grumpy old headmaster. Oh boy, I love it.
Who is Gaza?
Who is this Gaza? Ruth Jordan. She's one of our regulars.
Yes.
Frank could never do Strictly because he'll never beat that dance he did in Y-fronts years ago on his TV show. He once said a man dancing in Y-fronts would always be the funniest thing in the world. He wasn't wrong.
I remember that when I had the idea for that sketch, it came to me accidentally. I got out the bath, I put white pants on, and the Venga Boys came on the radio. And I danced, because on my own I can dance. And I know they say dance like there's no one watching, but when you're a Catholic, that's very difficult. Because there's always someone watching. Anyway, I danced and I saw myself in the mirror and burst out laughing. And I thought, I'll put this on telly Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I said to the producer, I've got this idea for a sketch. I'm in white pants dancing to the Venga Boys. And he said, OK. And his pen was poised. And then what happens? I said, no, that's it. And yeah. It's been mentioned many, many times. Someone asked me if I worked out.
Did they?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I was so stunned that anyone would. I mean, it looks like poor old Gandhi. Who's first thing in the morning. Seeing, I mean.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a technical question? Mm-hmm. I parked my car recently. I know I talk about parking a lot on this show, but it's such a big thing for me. And my car, the body of my car, I'm calling it the chassis. Eh? I'm calling it the chassis. I remember that name because there used to be a thing people did. They did a spoonerism, and they used to say, Shirley Bassey, she's got a burly chassis.
Oh, that sounds like a vocal warm-up for a theatrical person.
Yes.
Yes.
But I got a question. When you park the car... Oh, I'll ask after this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Ros Bridges,
Yes?
briefly. I like a piece of cheese with a thin slice of grape applied to the top.
Thin slice
Oh,
of
wow.
grape.
I like your
He
use of
needs
applied, Ross.
Yeah, he needs to employ a grape dangler, which I think we spoke of. You won't get that, Zoe.
No.
Yeah, we were talking last week. There's a new restaurant that's advertising for a grape dangler to
Great dangler.
to feed people. It's sort of ancient Roman themed.
I mean, it
Oh,
is
so
a grape feeder, but I like grape dangler.
Oh, was it feeder? Okay.
Grape
Yeah.
dangler does sound like
Well, they
something
do-
you'd apply to a cream to. That
No,
doesn't
but
sound so
they
good.
do dangle them in order to feed people, don't they? When you see
they?
ancient Romans eating grapes, they're sort of
It's always at a-
underneath.
yeah.
They're underneath them.
It's always from a height, isn't
Yeah, I think
it?
they attack from below
Yeah.
generally. The
I mean,
grapes.
is it the satyrs? Satyrs, they were fond of a grape, weren't they?
Were they? I don't know. It's they had goats' legs, as I recall, which is a whole other story.
But a sliced grape, I'm thinking there's a lot of wastage on a sliced grape because you've got two round bits of it. There's just basically, there's.
No, you'd have
It's
two
not the
pieces.
most. Would you get two slices out of a grape?
Yes, of course.
Would you?
Yes.
Well, you need a sharp knife for that and quite an accurate hand.
Anyway, you'd be dicing with death. So, when you park, now I'm asking this question because Zoe Lyons has said on this show, I am brilliant at parking.
I am.
She is brilliant.
I am.
Yeah,
Very,
no, obviously
very
I'm
good.
not.
Yes,
I'm
because
terrible
my
at parking.
postman confused me for you, and when he delivered the mail, he said, "Oh, congratulations on being such a good parker." I thought he was genuinely looking at my parking outside,
Right.
and he was listening to the show.
Oh,
Back to
Oh, you
Frank
looked
Skinner.
so terrible that morning. He was comparing you with Parker from Thunderbirds. Anyway, when you park in a bay,
yes.
if your
When you walk through the
chassis,
storm.
yeah, when you park in a bay and your chassis sticks out. Does it legally have to be in the box? Or is that just the wheels? Do they care about overhang? I don't know, I don't want to be. Whatever that thing is that they put on your wheels.
Fine. Clamped.
Yes,
I love that part of the song.
Yeah.
thanks.
Anyway,
Yes, so what is the answer? I don't know if you were listening
Wheels
to the
in
I've
lyrics.
forgotten the question.
Wheels in box.
Wheels in box, so
You can
chassis
have,
can be
you can have
extended.
slight chassis hang. You can have
Wow,
a very
that's
slight
made it much
chassis
easier.
overhang. But so yes,
I've already got that, thank you.
if you, as long as your wheels are in the box,
Yeah.
you're allowed a little bit of chassis hang. I
When you
think.
say a little bit, what do you mean by that?
Well, I suppose it depends what you're driving. Are you driving a truck?
I drive an E-Type Jaguar.
He's got one of those Chris Eubank 18-wheelers.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't drive an E-Type Jaguar. I made that up.
Yes, I've always assumed it's fine to have my trunk hanging over.
I had a mental image of a parking attendant with a plumb line dangling it from the outer reaches of my bumper and going down. And if it's over the line, you're illegally parked. But that was incorrect.
I think as long as your wheels are in, you're all right.
This is great news.
Yeah.
But then, Frank, you are...
That's my motto from now on. As long as your wheels are in, you're all right.
You're allowed
That's
a
what I
little
said to
bit
the
of chassis
pilot.
hang.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad. That's great. That's given me a lot more because I need.
Does that make parking easier for you,
yeah,
Frank?
I like to get in the general direction of the bay. So that's good. Look, I wish you wouldn't shake your head and look at me like that,
I
Zoe
just
Lyons.
can't stand people who can't park. I just can't.
Parking elitist.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Let me tell you something I did. I went to the Royal Opera House
Ooh.
to see Mozart's Don Giovanni.
Oh,
The
nice.
Prussians.
And, well, it was actually... you see, I knew the AD. And so I just went to the dress.
Oh,
Yeah.
not the DG.
Now, so I was at the dress, and to be honest, a dress rehearsal at the Royal Opera House just feels like an amazing opera, generally speaking, except that the orchestra are in their cages. So they honestly, you will see someone play a bit of harp and then read a newspaper for 5 minutes. And then it's so laid back, it's very weird. But there was an announcement before the dress rehearsal began. And a woman said, she said, let me get this right. It said that some of the cast, this is a dress rehearsal, and some of the cast may be marking tonight. Are you aware of marking?
Yes.
No, I didn't. But this, for example, I know someone who went to a Les Mis rehearsal, Les Mis, and a bloke went who was singing said, "And when the beating of your high resembles the beating of a drum." In other words, I'm not doing the high note because I'm resting myself.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, we're beating. So it's like, and when the beating of your high resembles the beating of.
I would have just assumed he'd sort of seen somebody he'd known.
I know.
Yeah.
So you save your voice. It's like if I did a tryout gig, new material, and said, I might not do all the punchlines
Just to save them.
today.
Yeah.
I think I have done many tryout nights when the audience thought I was marking. So marking is this thing where it's a rehearsal I don't want to push myself.
yeah.
Now, no one did it that I noticed. I'm no expert. I thought it was fabulous.
Well, we've seen, because I'm proud of bringing this to your attention, the George Michael Somebody to Love video, Frank. He did not do that. He did not mark, did he?
Well, he was in a rehearsal. There's a rehearsal thing that we love on YouTube, and it's him singing Somebody to Love, the Queen song.
Yes.
And
Freddie Mercury
David
tribute.
Bowie and Seal are in the corner. David Bowie's smoking, if I remember right.
Everyone's smoking.
And they're watching him. Well, they're not watching him. At first, they're talking, and he's singing. And I'm not going to pretend to be a George Michael fan, but when I saw that, I thought, I know why people love this bloke, because his voice, even in this rehearsal, was unbelievable. He never went, can anybody find high? Somebody didn't. He never did that. He just and he was amazing. And in the end, they stopped chatting and were both looking in a bit.
Like,
hold on.
Oh, wow.
They were a bit school bullies at the back initially.
Yeah, but
laughing and
boy, did he
joking.
win that.
Yeah.
You see, if I was doing a full dress of an opera, which, let's be honest, is highly unlikely.
You will, Oscar.
You
You
will.
will.
It's highly unlikely, but I'd want to make sure that I could hit those high notes before the big night.
Yes.
I would not feel confident just going hi. I'm just thinking, oh, God, I hope this works on the night, because if you haven't tried it,
But they've always got a little bit of a throat, opera singers.
have they?
Yes. It's like in my past, I dated a couple of professional dancers, as British
here we
comedians
go.
have to do. They've always got a bit of a twinge.
Twinge.
Yeah, always constant. Stretching, always stretching.
Have you got any opera singer friends? I've only got one. She trained at Maastricht.
No, I've got. I have a friend who was a singer and then went backstage.
What do you mean? What, they died?
No. Yeah, that's what they call it. That's what they call it in opera. I'm afraid Martin's gone backstage. Oh no! Only saw him a couple of weeks ago.
It's a great shame.
But there's someone I wanted to ask Zoe about this. It made me think of, and I'll ask it now, and you can answer. No, if I do that, you'll tell me what the things. Zoe's too funny off air.
I save it all for off air.
I know you do. It's brilliant. No, you don't. Of course you don't. You silly sausage. Hi.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
The thing I was going to ask you, and this is on the marking theme, we were just talking about the fact that some singers in rehearsals and even dress rehearsals open to the public don't do the high notes to save themselves. How do you feel, maybe you do this, I've never used notes on stage for new material stuff.
Oh, wow.
I really disapprove.
Okay.
But when you're doing a stand, just explain to us non-comics, please.
Sorry, if I'm trying out new stand-up, you see some people who just read from notes.
Sometimes they get the iPad out.
Yeah, I've seen the iPad out, and I think, oh no, we don't want to see them working out, do you?
Oh.
No,
Isn't
it's a
that-
show.
But isn't that is that what people do for the work in progress?
Yeah.
They're called, aren't they? But you don't like doing that.
No, I learn everything for the work in progress.
Oh,
Do you?
Yeah.
get him.
No, I won't have notes, But
You know what you said about people who can't park?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about people who have notes.
Okay.
I mean, it's a performance, dear.
Yeah, I mean the wheels are in, but my chassis is hanging out. That's
Yes.
in a work in progress show. Yeah, I will have. I will occasionally have notes.
If I'm in an audience and someone has notes, I think I'm going now.
No, but you've
Really?
usually
Just
paid
email me. Email me this show.
Although I've done an interview on my podcast and I've had a guest say to me, have you not got any notes? Where's your questions?
I don't mind. I think an interviewer having
No,
notes
but
is
on
fine.
on a dog walk, I wouldn't be holding cue cards.
But I also want people to believe I'm making it all up.
Yeah, I understand that.
On one level, on one
Yeah.
suspension of disbelief.
That's very good, though, Frank. Because to learn new material that isn't bedded in is quite hard because you don't really know whether it works or not.
No, and it might not be worth learning. Often
No,
it isn't.
Yeah, then you've
But-
wasted some hard drive.
But you know, I respect my audience. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. And I have less respect for my audience.
Oh, I'm glad. Let's just wanted to establish that. Now I can move on. So listen, I left the Royal Opera House and a man came up to me called Hugo
Of course he did.
and he said, I work at the Royal Opera House. I've been there about 20 odd years. And I thought, now what does he do? Because he wasn't in costume or anything, and he wouldn't have got out to the show fast enough if he'd been in the orchestra, I don't think.
Was he
Anyway.
backstage? And I don't mean that in the new sense.
Well,
we
it's
use it.
something that I suppose it's so obvious. I wouldn't have thought of it that they would need one. He was the in-house piano tuner.
Lovely job for Hugo.
I mean,
How many pianos do you have in an opera?
or in an opera house where they're rehearsing, you have loads. I should think.
I'd have said one was enough.
In the entire opera house,
Would you have said?
there's a lot of moving about if you did that.
Do they use pianos in opera?
I bet 8, 12, 15.
No, but I'm on about in rehearsal. It's all piano.
Do you know
initially.
Hugo's got his hands full with that gig, hasn't
How
he?
long does it take to tune a piano? Would
A
you
lot
say?
of questions about the piano. I like that you're looking at me. Why would
Oh,
I
you
know?
look like you might know.
I'm going to say an hour.
Oh.
What, to tune the piano?
Okay, sitar.
A sitar?
Yeah.
Oh, 20 minutes.
No, sitar. That strings all over. Someone says I'm having a week off work. You going away? No, I'm tuning the sitar.
We used
No,
to have a
sitar.
lovely piano tuner. He used to take about... Oh, he took a while. I don't know if he was stringing it out.
Oh,
to
very
get more
good.
unintentional. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in there. Any tuners, please get in touch.
There'll be tuners listening. At
Yes.
least tuner chunks.
I think we've got quite a tuner demographic.
I wouldn't be surprised to
Yeah.
find that we've got 6 piano tuners who listen to
To
this
keep
show.
music live stickers.
No, 7.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
going to go 90 minutes for a piano tune. Frank?
I'm going to go 2 hours.
Oh, right.
Zoe,
Okay. Well, I went
it's your
low.
call.
I went low. I went an hour.
Okay, well,
an
we'll see.
hour.
I'll
Okay.
see. How long's to tune a piano? 8, 12, 15. I love it. This is much better than 5 words or whatever it is. And if we phone you about how long it takes to tune a piano, can you say, make me a piano tuner when you answer?
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Zoe Lyons. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Frank, our readers have got in touch regarding a question we asked. We've asked numerous questions this morning, but we were interested to know roughly how long it would take to tune a piano. Mm-hmm. And a banana, first up. The key is to find someone who doesn't charge, by the minuet.
Sigh.
Try Chopin around. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're getting it all here.
Goodness.
We are getting, Ben Norris says, about 3 chancellors. which I like.
Oh, that's clever topical stuff. Can I say also, it was good Chopin around because Chopin is a piano player by thing, so it's not just chucked in any classical name.
Well,
Perfect.
listen, the length of time it takes to tune a piano, the scales have dropped from my eyes.
Again,
Yeah.
marvellous. How did this happen?
Because listener 4423 has texted in to say it takes about an hour to tune a piano, and I believe I said an hour.
You did.
Okay.
I believe
Fair
I said
play.
an hour.
Zoe, sorry to rain on your parade, but Ben Brigden, it depends when it was last tuned and in what condition it has been kept. Minimum 1 hour, maximum 2.5 hours.
That's not a retune, that's a rebuild. That's having the whole thing up on a ramp.
It makes, gonna have to ramp it.
Sound like my
It's done
surgeon.
11. Done 11k.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of people, I mean...
That makes sense, actually. If it's really out of tune, it's probably going to take a bit longer.
How? I don't understand. You've just got to get it back to the...
Further to turn it. And also,
No.
some of them might be all right. I don't even need to touch that one. I'm happy with that F sharp. That's held well. I think if it's minimum an hour, I think Zoe does win.
I win.
Okay.
I'm going to take that as a win.
It's a great moment.
Going further back at the start of the
What
show...
a sad little life.
I know, it's a win, Emily, it's a win.
You are very competitive. I mean,
I'm quite competitive.
honestly, on the parking thing, I was utterly owned by Lyon.
Yeah.
Well, Ruth Jordan, one of our regulars,
Sunshine down.
Frank's parking bay query. Although she says Bay Parking Query, which I like. Sounds like she's in the sort of San Francisco area. It's much more fun to have a small car and park it as far into the bay as possible in between two other bigger cars. Then the bay looks empty and you can have fun watching drivers approaching what they think is a space and having their hopes dashed.
I've done
Wow,
that.
that's-
Done that many times, thinking there's a space, and you go over and it's got a smart car in it.
You know, Ruth has confirmed what I've always suspected, is that they're enjoying it, possibly sitting in the car watching our faces.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm such a good parker.
Oh,
come
I don't know
on.
why you haven't brought this up before.
I think I've parked my car in a space that's smaller than my car. I think I've broken physics in the past parking.
Maybe if you went diagonal, it would be possible to do that.
I'm really, really good.
It's like getting a table through a door frame.
Yeah.
If you go off
go in at an
slightly to
angle.
one side. It's amazing what the removal guys can do. Any removal guys listening? Good morning. bit of sort of ordinary radio there. We don't do much of that. That'll reassure everyone. That's what they want from radio, reassurance, not entertainment.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was going to go back to the beginning of the show, and Frank mentioned Antarctic fat that was consumed by Scott and his colleagues on the boat.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on the boat.
Well, it would have been on a boat, wouldn't it?
I think there was a lot of trekking.
Yeah, but it would have got there on the boat.
One of the things with Scott's thing was they didn't eat the dogs, which is why they think they didn't make it. Should have ate the dogs. Not advice you often hear.
No.
Yeah, so I thought it was called Pantechnicon, but I do think that's a lorry.
Well, listener 7541 has texted in to say he believes it's... I believe the fat Frank is talking about is pancetta. It's a salt-cured belly fat. I don't think it is it?
No.
I mean, I'm not an expert on blubber, but I don't think it was pancetta.
No.
No.
I wouldn't have minded that. That's more of a cruise if you got pancetta,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Captain Oates would have said, I'm going out for a while, maybe some time, if there was pancetta in the cupboard.
I'm going to have a carbonara with a bit of pancetta in it.
Doesn't anyone know the
Maybe
name of that
sometime.
fat stuff? I
It's a
can't believe
nightmare
it.
getting hold of quinoa around here. Maybe sometime.
Maybe sometime.
That's what my mother used to say when she went off to get special herbs and spices. Frank, 947, dear Mr. Munch and Co. This is a reference to your love of...
Oh, yes. Monster Munches.
I very much enjoyed the conversation from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I've got more news on Monster Munch. by the way.
Okay.
In case you didn't know, Zoe, I've started eating bag after bag of Monster Munch because there's less than 100 calories in every bag.
I think you've told me this before.
Yeah.
He's a
I'm,
bit
I'm
obsessed.
quite tedious.
Yes.
I'm nothing special. In fact, I'm a bit of a bore. Next.
If you tell a joke... No, I don't think that's true of you. I would say your material's quite original.
Thank you very much. If Zoe tells a joke, she's probably just reading it off a
I'm
bit
just
of
reading off
A4.
notes, off a post-it.
Dear Mr. Munch and Co., I very much enjoyed the conversation from 2 weeks ago about Frank's newfound healthy, in quote marks, just FYI, snack. It had me reminiscing on my fond Monster Munch memories and was wondering if Frank remembers the vanilla ice cream flavoured Monster Munch. If not, I would like to propose he uses his fame, I love uses his fame,
Yes.
to start a campaign to bring them back. To think we could have a 3-course meal for 300 calories. Love the show. The cowardly, Repo Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ordinary people. I hate them. That's a line. I've cleaned it up, but that's a line from Repo Man. Well, first of all, I was looking the other day at dessert Pringles. And
They don't do such a thing.
you can honestly get stuff like baked Alaska Pringles and
No,
stuff like that.
no, you lie.
There's lots of sweet Pringles.
Wow.
Is that? I quite like the sound of those.
I think it's an American
Americanism.
thing. An American. But yeah, I don't fancy the sweet crisps. I seem to remember that a pop-up shop opened not a million miles from this studio that just sold crisps. Do you remember that? And they had some sweet crisps.
I'm not into the sweet crisp.
No.
A vanilla ice cream crisp. No, and a vanilla ice cream Monster Munch crisp. That's a lot of powder.
I think the combination of a combination of a monster, which is a dynamic, frightening thing, with vanilla, which is a very sort of bland thing, that seems wrong to me.
Dear.
I didn't think I'd go out on a moral note on the Monster Munch
Strange
chat.
morality.
Yeah, exactly.
Monster Munch.
Exactly. That wouldn't have been a bad thought for today, actually, on Radio 4.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Are you all right?
No, do you know what? I'm not going to lie. I wasn't all right. I was all over the place.
Emily's sort of, obviously her chair is on wheels, that's many office chairs, but I've never seen it move that far before.
It did go slightly Davros.
It did go a bit Davros.
Oh, how's he getting on, Davros?
He hasn't been in Doctor Who for a while, but he'll be back. But I think the forthcoming special, which is next weekend, 90 minutes, there's a few old faces coming back. I haven't heard anything about him, but he may appear.
I'm not sure. He feels a bit old school, if you don't mind me saying.
No, but that's one of the features of Doctor Who is that old school suddenly reappear. Like, was a character called Alpha Centauri, who hadn't been in it, I think, since the Pertwee era. And then, anyway, I don't want to bore people.
Sorry.
He does.
There was a Pope story this week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I love any Pope Francis news is good.
Was
for
there
me.
ever a Pope story?
This was I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I particularly enjoyed it because it's a subject close to my heart. Not the Pope or Catholicism.
No, that's a subject close to my heart.
Yeah.
Well, we
But-
should say.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zoe. I was going to say, because he got some custom kicks.
Well, he gets lots of
Custom cakes.
He
He has
gets a
some
lot
custom
of
cakes.
gifts, the Pope. If you go to the Vatican Museum, it's crammed with, and they're often things like enormous tusks from the 19th century that have been
that's
engraved, or big golden things. But this was a pair of trainers.
Oh, you
It's
see?
quite
Lovely.
Versace, the aesthetic, isn't it? The papal aesthetic.
What? Well, the Pope was given. Let's
Is that okay, sir?
let's
Yeah, the branding's quite...
Yeah, I just mean it's
yeah.
quite fun, you know, it's quite
There was. We should describe the trainers.
the custom kicks.
Now, I don't know all the terms, but they're high
High-tops.
tops.
Yeah.
New
Okay.
Pope trainers just dropped.
Yeah. And so they're yellow and white, the papal colours, with the papal badge on the
Oh,
side.
they're yellow and white.
I have to say, I was sad when it said on the box size 8, because I thought, look, if you don't want them.
Oh, is that the same size?
No, I'm a 9, but I thought, what a shame, because I would have worn them until they perished.
Can you wear a high top though, Frank? I just because I worry
I'd
for the
wear
Pope
those.
being 85, trying to get, you know, it's harder on your arches, isn't it? Trying to get them into a high top.
Might be good for. He has sciatica, the Pope. It may
Well,
steady him.
he was spotted, and this wasn't in Heat magazine, in a chemist once. Buying, this is true, because he was buying shoes, and I remember thinking that was a bit of a strange.
Buying shoes
case.
in a chemist.
Yeah, because he was buying orthopaedic shoes.
Oh.
He likes, but isn't he quite? He does his own thing, the Pope.
Thank God. Are you going to tell me the Pope was buying in a chemist? That was a terrible moment. Oh, it's all right. I'm ready. I'm okay.
Pop
I'm all
that in a
right.
brown
I'm all
bag,
right.
love.
I'm all right.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So we're discussing the Pope Franny, and
Come on.
oh, is that not allowed? I thought
It's
I liked
allowed,
him.
but,
Okay,
you know.
sorry, Frank. I'm so sorry.
Anyway, these. One thing is that the shoes have Pope written on them. I mean, they've got the papal badge and they're yellow and white. I mean, are they thinking that should cover it? If the Pope goes 10-pin bowling, I think that will clear up any confusion about whose trainers they
it
are.
says on either side of the high tops, which just dropped,
Yeah.
it says Pope on one, and then I think it says Francis on the other.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, I don't think anyone calls him Pope. No one at the
Franny.
Vatican puts their head around the office door and says, Pope, can I have a word? That doesn't happen.
Or
I
Franny.
would.
Franny is
I'm
not...
sorry about
yeah.
that, Frank. I'm sorry.
Till
But I
I'd
think
like
a
to
matching
know.
Franny pack for his high tops would be lovely.
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I
What about when the Pope got his orthopaedic shoes in the chemist? Do you know what? That
That is-
really made me warm to him,
that
Frank.
is nice, I think.
Sorry.
I think he's one of the good guys.
Do you think the high tops come with those little wings? Do you remember the word trainers you could get at one point that
Yes.
had little wings?
I
at the
remember
back?
them well.
I think they were made famous
Claire
by
Rayner.
Jedward.
Claire Rayner advertised.
Yes, I
Possibly
remember them well.
Rayner.
Oh.
Or Jedward. They're so interchangeable. And so that would be lovely, little
Actual,
wings.
like, fabric.
Wings.
Leather stitched wings is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
Oh, I quite like the sound
You would
of
love that. Actually, they'd be a lovely gift for Frank.
Yeah.
He'll be celebrating
Can you
his
still get them?
celestial relationship.
We'll dig some out, Frank.
Well, there's a bit of Greek mythology in there, of course,
Oh, yeah.
the winged
I think I
heel.
might have some of those.
And also, I think the original Flash, the one who used to wear a tin hat, I think he had winged
And
heels.
He
the
did.
iconography of the messenger.
In fact, the Flash might have winged heels now, I come to think about it. Anyway,
Anyway,
Let's not
meanwhile,
dwell on that.
back in the Vatican.
what I'd like to know is, do these shoes have an imperishable soul?
Oh, lovely.
I
Frank.
mean, it was very little theology comedy on commercial radio.
Frank, they were given to him. I've done a bit of a deep dive on this because I'm rather obsessed by it. I mean, it's fashion, it's the Pope, it's everything I love about life. And they were gifted to him by Father Jim.
Oh.
Are you familiar with Father Jim?
No.
Father Jim is based in somewhere near Texas.
Right.
He's a motivational speaker and a Catholic priest, as you are.
Okay.
He went over there. He had these created especially for the Pope from a company that...
Well, some people say they evolved. So, what make are they? Oh, sorry, no, carry on. Carry on with
No,
this story.
yeah, they're from. I'll carry on with this story. Carry on with a little story. They're from a company, Frank, that's called True Blue.
Oh, so they're not Nikes or any of those.
They customise your Nikes. So the man would have taken the Father Jim, hard as this may seem to imagine, bought the Nikes,
Yeah.
took them in to True Blue and said, can you customise these for the Pope? True Blue say they have had requests. They've customised trainers before, also for Paul McCartney and Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Well,
I love that you call Snoop Doggy Dogg his
I
full
do.
name.
I do.
it's
I'm very polite. Mr.
It's
Dog.
very formal. Yeah.
it's quite a roster, isn't it, that
Yeah.
they've got?
The Pope and Snoop Dogg.
But the man who owns the trainer company, what I liked is gave a quote and said, they said, well, you've done some amazing people. And he said, yeah, but the Pope is kind of like, he's like the top level.
A-list. I mean, I think they're a nice trainer. And I'm going to go to our trainer expert about this to find out what she thinks.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I've been digging out some pictures of the Jeremy Scott wing trainers.
Oh, yes.
I think you quite like the look of them, Frank.
Some of them seem to be for reversing. The wings are pointing in the wrong way.
I think you need external wings, don't you? Coming out the back.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
a classic.
Yeah,
Achilles.
Mercury. Yeah, exactly. I don't think Achilles.
Wasn't it Achilles?
He's a warrior.
Oh,
You've
I got that wrong.
Pegasus, you can stick
He
with
had, you're thinking of his heel.
Yeah, his heel.
Oh, that's what I'm getting
Do you know what? His
confused.
heel played him up all the time. He had a nightmare.
He
with
had
it.
he had a really hard time getting into high tops because of his heel. Yeah,
Well.
the shoehorn.
If I remember rightly, in the Iliad, he doesn't have the heel. I think that was added later. Just
Came with
saying.
age.
Gluten Morgan. This news just in.
That's good.
Don't know, but it costs about £1,000.
That's going to be a piano tuning joke, of course.
Oh, there
I
you go.
think it will be. I hope it is.
So you're a trainer's person, Zoe. Am I right?
I'm often.
Like the Latin for a personal trainer. You're a trainer's
person. I am.
Yes.
I do wear a lot of trainers.
But are you like the sort of person who would pay?
No, I have friends like that who've got like box loads of trainers that none of them, they don't wear any of them, and then
No.
they just sell them all. I'm confused by that.
They buy
I
them
very
for
much
lying
wear
down.
my trainers.
Is that what it's like when wine people buy it for lying down
Yes,
rather
yeah, yeah.
than? I found when I had wine, I often did quite a lot of lying down and drank it. I would wear these. I think they
The
look great.
papal trainer.
Yeah.
I tell you what I'm appreciating with it is the colour. It's a beautiful sort of rusty yellow. It's a very nice. I'm going to say on brand. It's very, it's of the moment.
Is it?
Yeah. I think if you offset
What, yellow is the new black.
yellow stroke orange, if you offset that with a sort of slightly military green, I think you'd
No,
really pull that
we have
look
a
off.
problem here straight away. Is the Pope only wears white.
Yeah, it's
You can't. You
very
can't.
restricting as a wardrobe, isn't it?
Do you know what? It's a lovely choice, though. It's the wardrobe of affluence because it suggests. Jerry Halliwell only wears
Jerry
white.
Halliwell only wears white.
Jerry
yeah.
Halliwell and the Pope, basically.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
stranger list than the Pope and Snoop Doggy Dogg and
Jerry Halliwell, the Pope, and Wimbledon players.
Yes.
That's it.
Now, can I clear
And
something
dentists.
up? It used to be said that Pope Benedict, the last Pope, still around, that he wore Prada slippers.
Yes.
That was what. Now, and in fact, he did wear red sort of moccasins, which he used to like to wear under his white gown. And in fact, favourite fact about Pope Benedict, other than he was known as the Pope's Rottweiler at one point, is that in 2007, a Squire voted Pope Benedict Accessorizer of the Year.
That'll be you next.
But I discovered recently that they weren't Prada. They were made by one of those artisan
Oh yes, it's one of those Antonelli.
cobblers that
yes.
lives in. Like, I think it was actually Daniel Day-Lewis made them for him. Do you remember he trained to be an artisan
It'll be some
cobbler
back streets of
for a
Firenze.
part?
Yes, he did. No, he actually gave up his job of acting to be a cobbler.
Yeah, so those red. I know, but it was prep for a
Fashion
part.
designer. No, but then don't you remember he then said, I'm quitting show business, I'm going to be a fashion designer or something.
Silly. Anyway, so they're handmade.
Can I just say
Red
how
moccasins.
much I love the word moccasin?
Do you?
Oh, isn't that... It's so comfy.
Handmade shoes, though. If you were feet, you'd feel a bit inadequate if the hands are making your stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think, source locally. That's what I think.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Oh, you've got to
Anyway.
do your bit. Have you done your bits?
Oh, I got to do my bit.
Do your bits, love.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Zoe Lyons. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. It wasn't that professional.
Oh, wow. You just went a bit Liz Truss there on me, Frank.
Oh, sorry, everyone.
It's quite Trussian.
It was a bit Trussian.
Yeah, I liked it.
I listen to Dave Berry on the mornings, and he's as slick as you like.
He's so slick.
What a pro.
I tell you, Kath's a big DB fan.
Sure,
isn't
she loves him. But the 5 words, I've never... do you know the 5 words
No.
competition? What
How
happens
does it
is...
work?
So if I say to you, bored, first word that comes into your head, B-O-A-R-D.
Black.
Bored. Black, okay. What would it have been for you, Zoe?
Dart.
Okay.
Some of the different.
Good. So this is what
Blackboard learning.
happens. So someone
You're in the
phones
pub.
in. Someone phones in and does that with 5 words,
Oh, yeah.
and then a member of the show does likewise, and you have to get exactly the same things. It's impossible. Best I've ever got, I think, is 1.
Okay.
It's impossible impossible. They have words like, okay, first word that comes into your head, upheaval. Hesitant. Kind of money's safe. That's what I think.
Listen to me.
It's very good, though. It's compelling. Can I just say
Is
that?
it? Do you like that I've started a link on Breakfast Radio with listen to me?
Yeah,
Listen to me.
I'm talking about the Dave Berry show. It's all in-house. It's good. I'm being a good company man.
No, I wanted to ensure that you two had come across this because whilst we were speaking of the Papal trainers,
Yeah.
custom kicks, I'd also like to discuss the tattoo trainers. Did you ever come across this?
Oh,
It was
yes.
not that long ago.
No, yes, the tattooed.
Yes, did you see
man,
this?
A man had a pair of training shoes tattooed on his feet.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of genius.
Is it?
He was so tired of paying for new shoes. He'd be a nice friend for you, Frank. He got a tattoo artist, South African tattoo artist, Dean Gunther,
Oh,
to design.
you've Googled, haven't you? You scoundrel. I thought you just knew Dean Gunther.
But you know that's my party trick is obscure people.
No, it is. You are brilliant at that.
To tattoo these trainers, this trainer design onto his feet. And Gunther was so happy with his design, he can't stop. I mean, it's all over social media. He's putting these pictures up. Did you see them? And what did you think of them?
Well, they reminded me, I've got a tattoo of navy blue Speedos. And no one at the local swimming baths has noticed a damn thing.
No.
No. No. They were... I'll tell you what I didn't like about the tattoo trainers. They were what I would call opper-centric. So they're all about the uppers, but there's like bare toes sticking out the front
Oh, I
of
see.
them,
You know
which
those
I didn't
yeah.
try with the
Has he had the
navy blue
soles tattooed
Speedos.
on? Has he got the soles tattooed on?
No, he
or
hasn't
just-
got. That's it. They sort of sit on the top as if he stepped through his trainers.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean.
Yes, you know those. They're sort of where the trainer meets the slide.
Okay, like a sort of trainer sandal type. Okay, yeah.
I like
It's
that.
trainer slide
The
meets.
trainer meets the slide. It's a bit like, is it when the north wind blows? It's got that kind of fabulous.
Yeah.
I'd love to read that novel. When the trainer meets the slide.
Yeah.
A novel by Beryl Bainbridge. Yes.
They've got a bit of an identity crisis, I agree. And I sort of think, make your mind up. Pick a lane.
Yeah.
Which are you? Because they've also got a bit of Birkenstock thrown in.
Oh, no, you
Have
don't want a
they?
tattooed Birkenstock.
Well, yes, the exposure of the toe.
Oh, yes, that is, yes.
And I feel, I mean, my issue with it as well is that I don't like exposed toenails unless they're very, very well cared for.
I agree.
These weren't.
Right.
And they're now tattooed.
Does he call them tashoes? A bit like tashoes.
If you were going to
You
go
haven't
to
got a tashoe, have you?
going to
No,
the trouble
I'm
of
having them
having
done Thursday. Sorry.
shoes tattooed on,
Yeah.
you definitely go to the trouble of having a pedicure as well to make sure that the,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
foot, I mean,
Once
you'd go the
But you
whole
could get
hog.
socks that look like trainers would have been cheaper.
Well, do you know what look like trainers? Trainers look like
Yeah.
trainers.
Yes.
I mean, that is just easier.
That's a good
That is
point.
easier.
I think we'll end on that so we can give it some thought.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, 283. Hi, Frank. It takes me 1 to 3 hours to tune a piano, depending on condition.
That seems to be the window, 1 to 3 hours for it.
The average seems to be 1, which is what I went for. I'm just throwing it in
Do
there.
you does every instrument need tuning? Would you tune like a clarinet? Come on, Zoe.
Well,
You know all
you
about
alter
parking.
your reed, don't you? You sort of don't you?
Do you know what?
Do your
If
bit
what-
with a reed.
I don't
If
know what
one
you
of
do.
those lovely gents from the orchestra pit could get in touch, and I only want them. I don't
Or
just want
Accabilk.
I don't want randos. I want one of those lovely men.
Sorry.
You know those men, Frank, you see in musical theatre. They're a lovely man of a certain age,
Yeah.
and they wear they always wear a nice bow tie, maybe.
Waistcoat.
Velvet bow- yeah, waistcoat. Often called Alla. They're lovely men. Martin. Frank, listen to
Yes.
this. 053, Rear-Winged Heels.
Yes.
The Martian from the Looney Tunes cartoons always had baseball boots with wings. That is from Ralphie at Ralphie Customs. What does that tell you about Ralphie?
Ralphie can knock up a sneaker.
Ralphie's at Customs.
Oh, he's not in customs. Oh, I see. I was imagining him sitting at a desk with a box of rubber gloves and some forms. Apparently, the guy who's had these trainers tattooed, in his will, he said that when he dies, he wants his feet severed and hung over a telegraph wire.
I mean, it's a beautiful,
It is a
beautiful way
lovely.
to go.
Oh, imagine seeing
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That would be scary.
That would be slightly alarming.
He's ruling out a lot of functions he can go to with these trainers, because presumably the idea of the tattoo, bear with me, Zoe, is that, oh, that's great, I don't have to wear shoes. I'm
Yeah.
presuming. But there are certain events that would not be suitable at.
He can't go to a toga party. That's out.
Well, no, I think he exactly could, because Emily's pointed out many times, fancy dress nearly always falls down at footwear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Often
always
people look great, and then they just put some trainers on.
Trainers on.
Which is why I make the most effort with footwear, because it's like I just have to write someone off. If you put all that effort into the ghost and the whole look, and then Frank, what do they put on their feet?
Well, it's usually trainers, isn't it?
tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even a
The amount of ghost
shoe.
trains you see let down by Reebok.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
And Dracula's in black trainers. I mean, as he.
Please wear a patent dress shoe.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, when I went to Jonathan Ross's party as the Frankenstein monster,
You always make an effort.
I actually bought some bulky boots, which
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Which
thought you got
is-
them from the Pope.
Which is what he wears, what the Boris Karloff one
Yeah.
wears. I think he may be barefoot in the in the book. But I think he's got tattooed chunky boots on. No, probably not.
I might get tattooed gloves because I'm always losing gloves.
I worked with a woman who had tattooed makeup. She had mascara and eyeshadow and all that tattooed on lipstick. Yeah.
You've really got to commit to that, haven't you?
Yeah, she said it was just better for skin not to be using makeup and cheaper in the long run.
My niece is like face painting.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very expensive, and I just wonder at what point you could just get that tattooed on.
Yeah, that is a commitment.
Yeah.
I don't want to be when you're 35 going to a job interview as Simba.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank356 says, "Hi Frank, you can tune a clarinet by adjusting how far apart the separate parts of the clarinet are. Not from the pit, but the non-pros know too."
Okay.
So it can be tuned.
How separate parts of the clarinet?
You just adjust all the bits.
You could have bits in different rooms.
That wouldn't work.
No, that's too high.
What are you, some sort of surrealist?
If you could be great at any instrument, which one would you choose? That question to Frank Skinner first.
I think piano. Because the trouble is, if you're great at clarinet, you never go into a pub where there's a clarinet on the wall.
Good
But
one.
piano, just what I've always, and I have fantasized, I mean, I often fantasize about this. I still daydream quite a lot. That I'll go into a pub and go dun 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 dun, and someone say, can you not mess about with the piano? And I say, okay, just one more. Dun, 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 and then do a Scott Joplin.
You've turned it into some sort of revenge moment.
I just like the idea of people thinking you're rubbish.
I do.
And then
Being able
absolutely
to bash
dazzling
it out.
them.
So what would you choose?
I'm with Frank on the piano. I think the show-off potential with the piano is enormous. So for me, again, that very much appealing. Or the double bass.
I see you with that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
When's that going to crop up?
Well, I'd just bash it out, and I can see myself wearing a sort of 1950s denim turn-up jean and a flannelette shirt.
Oh, a
Well,
bit
you've gone
Suggs.
rockabilly. That's what you've
Yeah,
done.
see a bit
take my
Suggs.
I'll quiff off my tuft. Quip off my
Please don't.
Yes,
can I tell
good
you what?
idea.
I would go for... Yes, I asked that question so I could tell you. No,
Yes.
I would go for the drums because I do like a female drummer. But what
I
about
do.
a middle-aged female drummer? Come on.
Less,
Yeah.
but I do like a female drummer.
No, because there aren't any. It would be brilliant.
Yeah. Would you do all the twiddly
I do all of it, and I would
Twiddly-twiddlies.
be so high up on that roster. Let me tell you. What do they call the drum platform? It's got a name, hasn't it?
the drum platform?
No, it's got a
I don't-
special
I-
name.
I
Any
don't
drummers,
know.
please tell us.
Plinth.
The Rise. The
Oh,
drum rise. That's it.
yes.
I'd be so high up on that rise.
I've always thought one of my, I don't know, I'm trying to work out what words now it's possible to use, but the sort of super cute female drummer is when Karen Carpenter was a drummer.
She was amazing.
She looked fabulously 60s as well. It just looked great. She should have stayed there.
And the xylophone. I think the xylophone doesn't get enough recognition.
I like
these days.
xylophone.
I don't
with,
like his kids' TV.
You know when they
But a
have two
massive
sticks?
xylophone.
You know they have two sticks in each
Yeah.
hand? That's impressive.
I'd go 3-stick xylophone, 3 in each hand.
I always found it depressing. There'd always be an old man that would come on and play that on kids' TV.
Another one of my daydreams was violin. He's playing the violin with fretting it with your right hand and the bow in the right hand rather,
But-
and then
that's amazing.
throwing it into the air and playing it the other way, like Ronnie Sullivan switching how he holds his cue.
Plucking it with your teeth.
Well,
like going a bit Hendrix on your
I don't
violin.
like the taste of resin.
No. Or
puts me off.
horsehair.
Morning.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been if Apocalypse. What's it called?
Apocalypse
that film?
Now.
Apocalypse Now had been about a travelling orchestra, and he'd said, "I love the taste of resin."
Charlie,
in the
don't
morning.
play the violin.
Oh man, hi.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I've had an exciting week, Frank. I've made a big life decision. I bought a tracksuit, top and bottoms, and I've been contemplating it for so long, and I finally made the leap, and I went bold colours, and I've never been happier.
How bold?
Like really shocking electric blue and orange.
Oh, electric!
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And I bought it slightly oversized as well, and I wore it out into the garden the other day to discuss some work with my carpenter. And
That's so biblical.
yeah, I was having my decking replaced. It really was shot, and he said I look quite hip hop, and I felt very happy with that. Yeah,
Did you have your beats on?
I had I didn't have my beats on.
Okay.
I'd combined the oversized tracksuit with a beanie and a pair of garden Crocs. So
I'm
it was
glad.
quite a
At
strong
last,
look.
At last,
It was a
Crocs
strong
have crept
look.
back into the fashionable.
But I wanted to ask Emily about this. What are your thoughts on tracksuits as a fashion item? Because I've wanted one for so long.
Could it in any way be described as a shell suit?
No,
Okay.
definitely not. It's
All
a lot
right,
more comfy
snobby.
than that. No, and it's not a lounge suit either. It's not sort of like a sort of velvety lounge suit.
No.
It's
Velour,
well,
usually, aren't they?
yeah, velour.
I am very, very into this idea. I love a tracksuit. Mm-hmm. The luxe leisure wear, as you know, I'm a big fan of, and it is that sort of elderly Italian gentleman,
Yes.
possibly
Well,
based in Miami now.
Yes.
I couldn't. I'm too old for a full tracksuit.
No,
Au
I think you're the
contraire.
perfect age.
No.
Really?
Trust
No.
me.
Not even with a ring zip.
I'd look like
Oh,
I'd
with
just...
a ring zip.
I
yes.
see you with a ring zip.
No, no.
yes.
People would think I'd wandered off if I was seen out in one of those. I could
bright
wear
red.
I'd wear a top and I'd wear tracky bottoms, but I wouldn't wear
Not
the
even
full
see,
thing.
this is the thing. The combo together is quite a brave move. I
It is.
think.
It really
I can
is.
totally see you in a
Brave
tracksuit.
or foolish?
No, I feel I'm really happy in my tracksuit.
Well, I can imagine you carrying it off. but
Would you
for
not
me-
even go for the retro Gucci, the sort of 70s?
Oh yes,
I
Look,
see you
I-
in
with
there.
an
What I don't-
aviator sunglass.
I know this is going to happen to all of
And a
us,
Peaky
but
Blinders cap.
Oh yes.
you know when you see an older man in like a suit and that, but with trainers because
Yes.
the feet won't handle a leather shoe anymore. I'm holding on to not looking like that if I can avoid it. The full tracksuit that's behind me.
I haven't worn it to the shops yet.
Well, I'll tell you what's back in.
Where do you wear it? Just around the house?
Just around the house and to talk to my carpenter.
Less brave.
I mean, it's quite niche having a specific outfit to address your carpenter in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just need to pop up and put my tracksuit on. I cannot
where's
talk to you
where's
in
my
negligee.
carpenter outfit?
Wait till you see my plumber outfit.
Often when Zoe's on here, she tells us what clothing she's just bought. Do you
Yeah.
remember the weighted
Weighted vest.
vest?
Oh, that
So
caused
can I-
chaffing.
can
I-
My
lovely
goodness, that absolutely caused chaffing. That weighted vest.
Do you not wear it anymore?
I've given up on the weighted vest. It was
that
foolish.
that was a waste of money.
It was a bit of a waste. It makes a beautiful doorstop. So, you know,
is
it
it
hasn't
that
gone
weighted?
complete. It's really weighted.
I thought it might be rounding the shoulders of a mannequin in the local office as we speak.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing tracksuits. Zoe, you referred to your new purchase.
Oh, I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You were asking me if I had a tracksuit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I tell you, when I've owned a tracksuit, I'm thinking of reinvesting. Do you remember the Vogue for they were called Juicy Couture?
Yes.
These people aren't paying me,
Oh,
FYI.
yes.
Yes.
I have no financial relationship with them. But they were very much associated with the sort of Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, and then it became a bit of a reality star thing. Do you remember those, Frank? The pink
Yeah.
one, particularly.
No, I do remember them. I have a vision now of Britney with always with a big drink.
Yes,
Drink
big drink.
from McDonald's.
And the point of them
And one
was
of those,
they were
yeah.
quite snug, so you would expose the midriff, maybe pair them with a jean, a low-slung jean.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of going back to my Juicy Couture tracksuit days, but maybe with more of a mom vibe.
I
That's
see.
Juicy Couture mom.
So what sort of colour
It's
were
a
we
bit
thinking?
Hollywood Mall mom.
Okay.
The colour would be cerise.
Oh, cerise. Okay. With
I
a gold
wouldn't-
trim.
What is cerise? What colour is that? Ish.
It's a beautiful pink
What?
with a gold
Oh.
trim.
With like a bit of gold trim on it. That's one thing about Juicy Couture. There's always a bit of gold going on.
Absolutely not.
Okay, no gold.
Anyway, have we heard from... This has become a podcast. It used to be. Have we heard from the outside world before we make our way off into the distance?
We have some.
I'm taking that as a no. So look, I'm going to go back to talking about Dave Berry's show. They have a thing they're doing, which is a brilliant idea called the Band of Mom and Dad. Are you aware of this?
No.
Where they get people who used to be in bands, and when they had children, they sort of gave it all up, and they're getting them back together. I was assuming, we're doing this big charity gig for Absolute. I was assuming they were going to close the bill. Is that correct, Sarah?
I don't know, to be honest.
I mean, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? If they are, I'm saying that they have to, or I'm not doing it. Yeah, that's fair enough. It's such a good idea, though. All that talent lost in parenthood.
Yeah.
Never mind. Something else I was talking about earlier off air was the new trend of what I'm calling Let's Do That, which is where you see a TV show, for example, or a film and think, oh, that's good. Let's do that. And then you just make something that's more or less exactly the same. Television,
Yeah.
I had a thing saying, would you like to do this programme? It's called Family Footsteps. So what you do is you go back and trace the history of your family and see. I thought
That sounds very
that's a good
familiar,
idea.
doesn't it?
So halfway through, who do you think you are? Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Stop it. Have some original thoughts, you
Antiques
fools.
bike trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's antiques everything now.
Oh, they love an antique, don't
Oh,
they?
that's my goal in life, is just to present antiques.
Is that what you'd like?
Yeah, I'd like to tell you my dream, Emily. Loose women 2 or 3 times a week. The show, not a
That's
hobby.
my dream.
Yeah. And then just a bit of antiques road trip.
It will
I see you on that.
It will surely come.
Do you think?
Yeah. You're made for
And then
it.
maybe to finish off a bit of Rip Off Britain. That's
I don't think you're quite old enough for Rip
I'm
Off
getting
Britain.
there,
Yeah,
Frank.
you're moving
I'm
to
getting there.
What is Rip Off Britain?
It's when people talk about
consumer.
how to get ripped
What do they
off
call
with
it?
scams.
Consumer. Not how to get ripped
Not
off.
how to avoid getting ripped
Oh,
off.
I know that one. Is
Yeah.
that with Gloria Hannaford?
It is. And
Do you
Angela
remember?
Ripman.
Do you remember
Yeah.
Rogue Builders?
Yeah, like that.
It's that kind of.
I'm bringing
vibe.
that back, Frank. I've
you?
looked at that and went, let's do that.
Do you know what?
Road Builders 2.
Forget sexy. You're bringing that back.
I'm bringing
I
that
like
back, and I'm going to present it in my tracksuit.
I'm going to bring back Rogue Builders, but in this one, builders go into your house when you're on holiday and build something. Just, we got back from Tenerife and there was a well in the garden, an ornate wishing well. I mean, I think there's been a mistake. I'd watch that. Zoe, it's always lovely to see you. Thank you for coming
Lovely
in
to be
today
here.
from the seaside.
Yeah, bring you up from the seaside.
Yep.
And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now, get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.